You told yourself you'd just check the time, and somehow half an hour evaporated while your thumb kept scrolling. This is about why you can't stop, and how dopamine and clever behavior design are quietly retraining your brain. If that sentence made your stomach drop a little, good, because it's not just your screen time number, it's the feeling right after. That slight fog, the mental static, the way an article feels too long. Even if it's short, the way you open 3 apps before your brain has caught up to the first one. You used to be able to sit through a movie. Now you pause it to check notifications during the quiet scenes. You used to read before bed. Now you wake up at 2 a.m. with your phone on your chest and a dull ache behind your eyes. And then there's the shame spiral. If I really cared about my goals, I'd just stop, right? That belief is probably doing more damage than the scrolling itself, because it mislabels a training problem as a character flaw. Let me try to untangle what's happening without the moral drama, and offer a way to rebuild your focus that doesn't rely on white-knuckle willpower. The first thing to understand is that dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. It's the pay attention, this matters signal. It spikes not just when you get something you like, but when your brain predicts something might be rewarding. It's the anticipation that hooks you. If you've ever felt that soft itch when you're bored, the subtle tug that says, maybe something interesting is waiting on your phone, that's dopamine doing its job. But there's a catch. The systems we use now are optimized to create small, frequent, unpredictable rewards. Not every swipe is great, and that's exactly the point. In psychology, we call that intermittent reinforcement. The same schedule that keeps people glued to slot machines keeps you glued to the infinite scroll. Variable wins teach your nervous system, at a gut level, that one more might pay off. So you keep pulling the digital lever each time you get a ping or see a novel clip. There's a small prediction error. Your brain expected something, got a little more or a little less. And that error signal is how dopamine teaches your circuits to try again. And the design is frictionless, no stopping points, no end of chapter cues, just bottomless. Think about how weird that is. If your cereal bowl refilled itself automatically with every spoonful, how much would you eat without noticing? Infinite scroll is a ball for attention. It doesn't make you weak. It makes the environment unnaturally strong. Over time, your brain's expectation of how quickly rewards should arrive is recalibrated. That's the subtle, unsexy mechanism behind why long-form anything feels heavier. You've trained your nervous system to expect quick, numerous, low-effort rewards. So when you sit down to do something complex, write, code, study, have a deep conversation, your brain checks. Where are the fast wins? When they're not there, you feel restless, unfocused. It's not that you don't want depth, it's that you've taught your biology to anticipate a different rhythm. Here's a second piece most people never hear. The more your attention is chopped into fragments, the more attention residue you carry. Each time you switch tasks, a bit of your mind lags behind on the previous thing. Scroll enough during the day, and your mind becomes a crowded room of half-finished thoughts. Open tabs in your head. That residue amplifies your stress and erodes the simple pleasure of being present. Have you noticed how you sometimes reach for your phone even during good moments, talking with someone you love, tasting a great meal because depths of experience have started to feel slow? That scares me more than any screen time chart. And yet, beating yourself up doesn't help. You can't shame your nervous system into a different learning curve. If anything, shame adds tension, and tension seeks quick relief, which looks like, you guessed it, more scrolling. So where do we find the lever? Not in heroic self-control sprints, but in retraining the loop that's been retraining you. The loop looks like this. There's a cue, a notification, a moment of boredom, a tiny spike of stress, a craving. Maybe something interesting is there, a response. You reach, you swipe, and a reward. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's nothing, but the maybe keeps you hooked. If that's the architecture, then the move is not to remove the phone from your life. It's to rewire the loop so your brain expects rewards on a different schedule. What if the goal wasn't no dopamine, which is impossible, but longer wavelength dopamine, fewer spikes, more satisfying payoffs? Imagine your attention like your cardio. Right now, you're taking sprints down the block all day fast, short, frequent. It's exhilarating for a while, then exhausting. What you want is to train for a steady run where your system learns that sustainable pace is normal. That means a few shifts that may sound simple but are actually cognitive retraining. First, decouple your phone from boredom. Boredom is not emptiness. It's the space where desire shows you what matters on a longer horizon. Right now, boredom is a cue that triggers you to seek the smallest available novelty. Next time you feel that itch, pause for 10 seconds, literally. 10, count them, before you reach. Ask yourself, what did I come here to do? Name it out loud. If the answer is vague, the phone is about to choose for you. If you can't name a purpose, put it down and pick a low stimulation alternative for 2 minutes. Stare out the window, sip water, stand up and stretch. That tiny pause begins to loosen the cue, response reflex. You are teaching your brain that craving doesn't require acting. The second shift is to add friction, where you're currently frictionless. Convenience is not neutral, it's a steering mechanism. Right now, your apps are on your home screen because they want to be the first thing your thumb hits. Move the most tempting ones off the first page. Turn your screen grayscale during work hours. Color is a reward cue and grayscale makes the just check loop less tasty. Turn off non-human notifications. If a real person needs you, they'll call. Log out of the most addictive app, so there's a password between you and the slot machine. Put your charger in another room after 9 p.m. Or use a real alarm clock, so your phone stops being the last face you see at night and the first in the morning. Friction isn't punishment, it's a seatbelt for your attention. The third shift is to create designated scroll windows. This sounds counterintuitive, but humans respect boundaries they set consciously. If you give yourself 2 15-minute windows a day where you're allowed to scroll guilt-free, your brain learns a rhythm. Novelty goes here, focus goes there. Without windows, novelty leaks everywhere. This is not abstinence, it's containment. And containment is kinder because it reduces maybe now, which is what keeps your dopamine system on alert. The fourth shift is to build a deliberate focus ritual that your brain begins to associate with slower, deeper rewards. Ritual is the cue, not motivation. For me, it's a glass of water, noise-canceling headphones, and a timer for 45 minutes. For you, it could be a playlist, a certain seat, a pre-focus stretch. Keep it the same. Start with a target small enough to finish 25 minutes. Is fine, and then by writing down the first step. That write down is more critical than it seems. It reduces the startup cost next time, which means you'll be less tempted to seek a quick win elsewhere. You're lowering the friction for the behaviors you want, raising it for those you don't. If you've ever wondered why the day disappears into minor things, it's because minor things have no startup pain and are always available. Deep things need a lowered barrier to entry. Another crucial piece many people skip: replace the high-spike micro breaks with low-spike micro breaks. You too need breaks, you don't need the roller coaster. Instead of 3-minute TikTok dips between tasks, try different micro rewards. Stand up. Step outside for a minute of sunlight. Make tea. Listen to one instrumental track. Do 10 slow breaths, and notice your exhale. Your nervous system still gets a state change, but without the jackpot effect. Over days and weeks, this teaches your brain that recuperation can be steady, not spiky. And don't underestimate the power of environment signals. If your bed is where you scroll, your brain will associate that posture and that space with time to expect quick novelty, which is a terrible way to fall asleep. Make your bed a no-phone zone. Put a book there, an old-fashioned magazine. Even if you read one page and fall asleep, your brain gets the memo. The pattern here is slow. Here's a question to sit with. When did waiting become intolerable? The line at the coffee shop, the elevator ride, the red light. When did those micro moments of nothing become enemies? Our ancestors stared at the horizon, we stare at rectangles, and then we wonder why our mind feels squeezed. Can you give yourself one wait? Per Dalton, why, where you deliberately do nothing with your hands? It sounds silly, it's actually a rebellion. That willingness to feel a quiet moment without reaching is how you restore your baseline. There is also a deeper identity piece that's worth naming. If you keep telling yourself, I'm just not a focused person, your brain will organize evidence to confirm it. Identity is a set of repeated proofs every time you complete a modest, honest promise to yourself. No phone for the first 30 minutes after waking. A single 25-minute focus block before email. You present your mind with proof of a different story. I can build conditions where I thrive. Will you still slip? The mark of progress isn't never slipping. It's slipping with awareness and returning faster. Try capturing slips like a scientist, not a judge. I scrolled for 40 minutes after lunch. What was the cue? What friction could I add? What alternative break could substitute? When you study your habits, you stop being their victim. And let me offer a second reversal that may feel like a relief. You don't need to make your phone the enemy. The same design that hijacks you can be enlisted to help you. If you love video, watch longer videos that teach or calm you. If you read on your phone, make the home screen a library app or a long-form read. Use app timers not as prison bars, but as nudges that respect your attention. Put a note on your lock screen with a simple question: what do I want this to do to my mind? That tiny pattern interrupt can save an hour. Your future self is not an abstraction. It's the person who inherits whatever your attention rehearses today. Another thought to consider: how much of your anxiety is actually attention debt? 1,000 tiny inputs create the sense of being behind. Vague dread you can't attribute to anything specific. When you slow the input stream, you often discover that some of your stress was just noise. Under the noise, there are usually only a handful of things that truly need you. And when you bring your full presence to them, the quality of your day changes. Not because you did more, but because you felt your actions line up with your values. Imagine an evening where your phone is on a shelf for an hour while you cook, or talk, or simply look out the window. Imagine not because it's virtuous, but because your mind learns that time can be a room you live in, not a hallway you sprint through. Would that feel like deprivation or relief? The funny thing about dopamine detox trends is that they take a biological truth and turn it into a spectacle. You do not need to disappear into a cabin in the woods to retrain your reward system. You need modest, repeatable steps that change the pace of rewards your brain expects. In a few weeks, long form will feel less heavy. In a few months, the idea of opening your phone during a quiet moment will feel jarring. That's when you realize it was never about being strong. It was about being trained differently. If you've listened this far, let me leave you with a quiet experiment. For the next 7 days, pick 2 things. 1. A friction you'll add to your highest temptation app, Grayscale, log out, move it off the home screen. 2. A ritual that opens your day without your phone for 20 minutes. Coffee, a short walk. Writing a sentence. That's it. Not a life overhaul, just 2 tiny pattern shifts. Notice what changes. Not just in how much you do, but in how your mind feels, the tone of your thoughts, the way you show up with people you care about. And if you try it, tell me what you notice. Was there a moment when waiting felt okay again? Did a book become readable? Did a conversation feel deeper? I want to hear the real, unpolished details in the comments, because that's how we refine this together. If this gave you a new way to think about your phone and your mind, a like helps it reach more people who might need it today, and subscribing will put more of these slow, careful conversations in your week. Take your attention back gently. It's not a war, it's a re-education. Slow may feel strange at first. but it's where meaning lives.